Hello and welcome to another episode of Bum with a Wrench. I'm your host Daniel, as always. Haven't been on here for a while, but and back behind me here, you can see that 1990 Mustang. You remember it from the channel. I kind of did like a joking parody, will it run on that car. I'm getting tired of looking at that car. It was initially purchased for resale, and then it sat around for many years in the shop. It's time for it to go on down the road. So pulled it out the other day and it wouldn't run. Got it on the hoist. Honestly, not really sure to this day on why it doesn't run. Don't really care, because even though up here the car is extremely clean, extremely beautiful, as you can tell. And the body of the car, not bad at all. The inside of the car, other than the passenger door panel over there that I have off, is extremely clean. Even fixed the little center console piece that was broken. Was getting ready to finish lubing up that door. The regulator on it was a little bit gummy, and so the window was jumpy. Was going to put that door panel back on and then put this thing for sale, you know, of course after I glue the mirror on, but put the thing in the air because it wouldn't run. And then when I put it in the air, I noticed that this car, again, super clean, but underneath the car is a ton of oil. It's leaking from every orifice, every seal, every spot it can leak from. In a minute we'll take a look underneath there. So I told myself, well, you know, I'm not gonna put the car for sale with it leaking all over the ground. It's not good for the car. It's not good for the resale. So I'm gonna pull the motor out. I'm going to clean it up, clean up the engine bay a little bit more, even though it looks very clean. I'm gonna clean up the K-member and stuff underneath, and all of anywhere oil has gotten on this car. I'm gonna reseal the entire engine, which includes head gaskets, valve guide seals, I'm gonna break the engine down basically in all of its little bits and pieces, and then paint it, put new freeze plugs in it, and then put it back together. Basically do a rebuild on it without doing a complete rebuild. Doesn't need pistons, doesn't need rings. The thing runs really good, other than the fact that it doesn't run right now, but I'm pretty sure it's fuel. When you start it, it fires up and then it goes, you know, anybody who knows that's fuel. So and it's got old fuel in it. Fuel that's in it's been sitting around for a couple of years. It's most likely got clogged injectors, fuel pump failed, something like that. Figure that out down the road. Not worried about that right now. Need to get the motor out of it, need to get the trans out of it, and I'm going to pull the rear end out of it as well. Scrub down all the grease and grime and get everything off of it. Clean the whole underside of the car. Make it look as pretty as the outside of the car. In doing so, I decided that this car, there's two things holding this car back. One, it's a convertible. There are those people out there that love convertibles, and that's great. This car's for you. But the other really big downside to this car, automatic transmission. So decided, since I got to pull all this apart anyways, I'm going to manual swap it. So I looked around for manual swap kits, anywhere from about $4,500 to $5,500. Will buy you all the parts, brand new off the shelf, to manual swap a Fox body. I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to sell this car and make a couple bucks. So I'm not going to spend that kind of money on something that, you know, I'm trying to make a little bit of money on. So there's cheaper ways of doing it, and cheaper meaning less expensive. I'm not compromising in quality or anything like that. It's going to be very clean, just like I always do, but it's out of the norm. So I'm going to call this episode manual swap on a budget, or budget manual swap a Fox body, or I don't know, something like that, which is very out of the norm for this channel if you've watched this channel in the past, because I haven't released a video in quite some time now. But it's very out of the norm for this channel. And it's all due to cars like this car that has an absolute insane amount of money and time and years and sweat and tears and everything, which still doesn't run and is a little bit dirty. I apologize for that. I need to get back. I am getting back to this car. This car is getting running this year. It will run and drive this year. Currently in talks with Haltech about a lot of modules and stuff like that. I'm going to redo the wiring on this car, because that's why I stopped doing this car, because I wasn't pleased with the wiring, basically how it was going to be done, how it was going to be handled. Didn't like it. So again, you know, budget builds not in the norm for this channel, all due to cars like this El Camino. That Camaro has a lot of money in it. This El Camino has quite a bit in it too. The whole front suspension is wild. 396 with multi-port fuel injection, and just, you know, the fact that it's a cool El Camino that's got no penny spared to build this car. But unlike this car, and one that I just finished, like this car. This car has been on the channel many times, and is finally getting to the point where it is a really fun car. It's very reliable now. The motor is fantastic. The rest of the car kind of follows suit. The one thing that this car really needs right now is oil coolers. That's its next bit of things that it's going to get. It's going to get a full Hotchkiss suspension kit, oil coolers, and I need to put an adjustable timing mark on it, because I found later on that the ATI Super Balancer and the FE Power timing cover both basically require a adjustable timing mark in order to dial in the timing. I feel like this really kind of needs that. But this car, ton of fun, super reliable now, super fun to drive, taking it out quite a bit, put quite a few miles on it. But again, an absolute retarded amount of money put into this car. So as you can see, budget builds are not really something this shop does. So I thought, man, this is a great opportunity. Everybody loves budget builds, right? Let's do a budget build, manual swap Mustang. So what I did was I looked up to see, again, how much a manual swap was actually going to cost for this car. I was finding them anywhere from $4,500 to $5,500. That gave me the brand new transmission, as well as all of the different components necessary to actually install a manual swap, a manual transmission into a Fox body that was originally a AOD car, an automatic. Real quick, a few parts that you do need. You need the shifter tunnel attachment. So as the transmission comes up into the car, there's a stamped steel piece that you rivet on, and then it's got the lower seal, I think is what they call it, that seals all the hot air from coming into the car. You'll need the shifter boot piece that goes on the shifter. Obviously, you need a manual transmission. You need the separator plate or spacer plate or whatever you want to call it between the transmission and the engine for a manual car. You'll need a clutch. Flywheel, pressure plate, throw-out bearing, pilot bearing. You can buy that in a whole kit. You'll need the pedal assembly. Pedal assemblies, something that you can really kind of pick. You can go with a new kind of, remastered kind of kit from a company, or you can go with eBay, just finding one out of a junkyard or a breaker's yard if you're in the UK. You'll need a clutch cable, because these are cable cars. And then a few little bits of wiring, which you could do yourself, or you could actually track down the correct wiring harness for the car, which basically gives you the, I think, just reverse option on the transmission. And then you also have the neutral safety on the pedal that you're gonna have to wire. Beyond that, Everything else, oh, and a cross member. Sorry, cross member. You can use the automatic cross member, you can. But you have to cut the welds on the bushings holding it, and then you have to slide it. Which, honestly, is a good option for a budget build, but the cross member for this car was like 40 bucks, I think, from Classic Industries. So just bought the cross member so that it looks right. Again, I'm budget building this car, but I'm not doing it in a way that is going to look very cheap. It's not going to look budget. It's just going to be budget. It's going to be budget friendly instead of just going out there and throwing tons of money at it. I did things like going on Facebook Marketplace, and I found a world-class T5 that was in fantastic shape. This cost me 600 bucks as opposed to a brand new transmission of $2,000. Everything looks really nice with the transmission. This is the main gear set here. Then you have the input here, 5th gear, fork arm. The seal even in here looks really nice. 5th gear looked really nice. Everything looked really good. The only thing is this transmission was purchased as part of a project for another car. And so it was taken out of a 88 GT, I think is what the guy told me. And it sat around for a lot of years. Because it sat around for a lot of years, it was cared for and it was kept inside. Water had gotten into the case a little tiny bit. When I say water, I'm talking like, you know, kind of the condensation that would come off your jack in the box soda, that much water. Not a lot, but enough to where if you've got the transmission sitting on its bell housing, all that water is accumulated right here on this forward bearing here, which would be right here, which would be this bearing here in this bag, because this is the input shaft. So this bearing here had a lot of just kind of a surface rust, but I don't know if you can see the bearing through that bag. The bearing is actually in really good shape. But what I found was there were a few bearings, like the little needle bearings and stuff that were on the inside that go in here, that had a few marks on them. Then I was going through inspecting some of the other bearings and found a few little pits and little marks and stuff. And so I thought to myself, well, you know, again, this is a budget build car, but I also don't want whoever buys this car to, you know, drive down the street and, you know, a week later have the transmission start howling on them because the bearings just went out. So bearing kit for this $600 transmission is about 300, we'll call it 380 bucks. That gives me bearings, that gives me seals, and that gives me synchronizers. So that's the stage I'm at right now. I'm waiting for that kit to come in. Then I'm going to start tearing all these gears apart and rebuilding that transmission into something that is fresh, other than the gears. But if you look at the gears are in fantastic shape. Like, I don't see anything wrong with any of the gears. None of them are marred, none of them have excessive wear, none of them are chipped. Every single one of them is in really good shape. In fact, the synchronizers, all the synchros are in really good shape. You know, you can see, like, you can see a little bit of that. See that right there? That right there. That's what was kind of hanging out right on that forward bearing. And it's like an oily, kind of rusty, there's no chunks to it. It's just, it's weird. It looks a lot like silicone, like that orange silicone, but it's not. It's like a oily, rusty kind of stuff. So again, not wanting to hand this car or sell this car to someone and then have them have a transmission whining right after they bought the car. I'll just put a set of bearings, seals, and synchros in it, and I'll be good to go. Like I said, gears are awesome. Everything else looks awesome. Got a really good deal on this transmission. These transmissions, brand new, will cost you $2,000. I got this one for 600 bucks. I got the rest of the parts for the car at a great price. We'll go over that later in this video or in the next video. I'm not sure how many videos this is going to be, but I'm going to save that part till the end, because I think you're going to be pretty surprised in how much money actually saved by using Facebook Marketplace and eBay. And really, besides the transmission being used, the only other used part going on this car is the pedal assembly. I found that from someone that had taken it out of a wrecked car. It was in really good shape. Of course, it had surface rust on it, like every single one of these cars, or most cars do, under the dash, because for whatever reason they don't treat the metal under the dash. Not sure on why they do that, but they all get surface rust on them, and that's basically what that pedal assembly looked like, had surface rust on it. So I'm going to leave the transmission for now, waiting for that kit to come in. I'm going to take this this gear set out, and then I'm going to completely clean the case. It's not in bad shape, but I'm going to get some aluminum brightener and then pressure wash this thing and make it look as new as possible. Same with the tail shaft. It's just, you know, been sitting around, kind of got that aluminum white powdery haze on it from sitting there. And the bell housing, same thing. Just got that white powdery haze from just sitting there. Clutch fork arm is looking a little worse for wear, but it's fine. Clean it up, throw some paint on it, and it's just light surface rust. Hang on while I turn off that. So now that you've seen the plan for this car, hopefully it gets you a little interested into seeing what it actually takes, because I'm gonna film the process as I'm doing it. It's not gonna be one of my previous videos where I do something and then turn the camera on and show you what I did. I realized when I was looking up how to manual swap one of these cars, there's not a lot of in-depth videos walking you through, hey, do this, do that. At least that I found right off the bat. There might be a good video out there, but let's make another one. So that's my plan. I'm gonna get started with this. First things first, I haven't touched this car at all yet, other than putting it up on the rack. So first things first, I'm gonna pull the transmission out. I'm not gonna mess with the motor at all. I'm just gonna pull the transmission out of the car, get that out of the way. Then I'll drain the oil in the engine. Then drain the coolant and start to disconnect all of the pieces. But I might as well get that transmission out now before I start slipping around in coolant. So let's go ahead, get this thing up in the air. I'll show you briefly underneath of it real quick, just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And then we'll start pulling the trans out of this. We should be able to get it out fairly quick. They're not hard to take out. So let's get to it. All right, got the car in the air. You have to excuse the fan a little bit. It's pretty hot, so I'm not gonna turn the fan off. That little breeze makes all the difference in the world, I tell you. Get a light. There we go. So as you can see, underneath the car does not look like above the car. It is a oily, road grimy kind of mess. Even have like a small little ding here from like maybe a parking stop or something. It's kind of interesting. See what I can do about maybe pulling that back out straight. But like these braces right here, I'll take those down and sand them, paint them. I'm not just going to throw black paint on something just to make it look like it's been cleaned. I'm actually going to go through and clean all of this stuff, pressure wash, clean it. If I feel like the arm needs to be cleaned, I'll remove the arm and clean it. The rack, you can see, has a lot of just kind of road grime on it. But if you look, the motor is leaking at the main seal. It's leaking up at the valve cover gaskets. I don't know why that Fram filter is there, because I never use Fram, so somebody must have put that on. It's got things like the oil drain for the supercharger. You know, that just needs to be cleaned up. You can see it's been sitting around for so long, it's got a little bit of rust on it. Everything just needs a good scrub down, a good clean. I really don't see anything wrong other than the oil leaks, which there are quite a few, like I said. So yeah, so we're gonna get into that. And then on the transmission here, this is a good AOD. There's nothing wrong with this transmission. It works, shifts, everything perfectly. But it's just not something that people want in these cars. So that trans is gonna come out, and the manual trans is gonna go in. So looks like I got some spider eggs there that have already hatched, which that's awesome. So yeah, the actual swap is not that hard, and we'll get into it when we get into it. But just kind of wanted to give you a brief tour of underneath the car and why I'm pulling the engine, for one. Pulling it because, you know, of this doesn't match the car. It doesn't match what you see on the outside. So I want the underneath to look just as good as the rest of the car. And really there's nothing wrong with it. It's just been sitting around for a long time. It was loved, it was driven, and now it's leaking. And it's got some road grime on it that needs to be cleaned off. The exhaust system's still in really good shape. It's got some MagnaFlows on it. The rear end is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Just got a little bit of surface rust. I'm gonna drop it, clean the arms, clean the housing, scrub it, sand it, paint it, and make it look right. Because really that's, you know, goes with the car. It'll give me time to clean the rest of underneath of the car as well, get the body all nice and clean. You can see the fuel lines are in great shape. That's the fuel pump that comes with the Vortec. So I need to look into that. I don't know if I want to maybe, I thought these had in-tank fuel pumps, but I might be wrong. If they did, I think they did. If it did, then I'm gonna try and find a suitable pump to go in the tank rather than having the external pump on the outside. But yeah, the car's in really good shape. Really nothing wrong with it. It just needs a good cleaning. Other than the engine leaking horribly. Really that's the main thing that needs to be addressed with that. So we're going to take care of that by removing it and then going through and, like I said, putting all new freeze plugs in it, changing all the seals, changing all of the seals, all the gaskets, doing a complete tear down on the motor, cleaning every single little bit, including removing the pistons and just inspecting, cleaning the rings, you know, cleaning the cylinders, cleaning the heads up real well, because it's got 98, almost 100,000 miles on it, which, like, again, doesn't smoke, runs fantastic. It doesn't have a loss of compression. There's really nothing wrong with it. Just needs to be resealed, so I figured why not go ahead and throw some new head gaskets on it, lap the valves, put new valve guide seals, put a new timing chain in it, new freeze plugs, just basically give it a good freshen up. I'm not trying to do anything performance with this car. I just want it to be a good solid car for whoever buys the car, that they can put it on the road and enjoy it for the next, you know, 10, 20 years before it has to be resealed again or rebuilt or whatever. So anyways, let's get started. Let's get that transmission out, and then get to getting the rest of it out.
this down.
On the floor, no way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. On the floor, no way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. Call me crazy, call me queen. Nobody stop what I will bring. Heavy bass, rhythm my own. Sound of the street, cut to the bone. On the floor, no way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. On the floor, no way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. No way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. On the floor, no way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. Drop the bass, feel the down. On the floor, no way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. On the floor, no way out. Drop the bass, feel the down. Drop the bass, feel the down. On the floor, no way out.
Now the whole car's clear. The motor can come out. I don't have anything in the way. You know, I can easily manage all the rest of the stuff without having to battle, you know, the rest of the car. This is all easy from here on out. You know, firewall's clear. Nothing's in the way. Those motor mounts are hammered. But I don't know. This is the way I like doing it. I'm gonna shut it down for today. Today's Friday. I got a late start. I don't think I started this until about 2 o'clock. So that's gonna be it for today. We'll come back and finish getting the rest of the engine out. I don't know how far I'm going to take this episode. Maybe it'll just be the trans, the motor, and then maybe we'll rebuild this T5 and get everything ready to kind of go back in the car. The motor needs to come apart. That'll probably be its own episode. Taking everything out, let's call that an episode. So I don't want to make these too long, too boring. If I spread them out, then you're not sitting there watching me struggle with the transmission for 2 hours and then, you know, whatever. So I think this is a good start for today. We got a good jump on it. I'm really liking the way this car's turning out, so I think it's gonna be a great car for whoever buys it. But anyways, I'll see you guys fresh and early Monday morning. We'll get this motor out of the car, and then we'll take a look and see what we got, see what we need to fix, paint, clean up, all that kind of stuff, and go from there. All right, guys, see you Monday. All right, got the car up in the air. We're just gonna use our same 5-gallon bucket. And can't remember what these were. Well, bigger than 13/16. I don't know that much. 7/8. There we go. one of the things it will do is pick up moisture and stuff from sitting. So that's why they recommend when you oil changes either by time or by miles. This one would probably be by time, although it is pretty black. Not bad though. Like I said, I don't know from 1990 all the way till about 2000, we'll call it mid 2000. I really don't know what happened to this car. But from then forward, I know where it's been, what it's done, who worked on it. So I'm pretty familiar with this car. You know what I'll do is I'll just leave the oil filter alone. Because when I get the engine on the stand, I can tip it and then pull the oil filter. I'll do that later. And I don't, definitely not going to pull it off and leave it off when I pull the motor, so. Okay. Let me go find a bucket and then we'll drain the coolant on this thing. It's got a drain plug right over there. This is what that looks like for the, you can see where it's just real light. But if you like look right here on the frame and stuff, it's mixed with the grease and the oil and the dirt. So some of those bolts and stuff are, like I said, if you left it for a while, it could get really bad on you. But I think catching it now, we can definitely save it and keep it from having any future problems. Other than this dent right here, all looks really good. Yeah, not a lot of problems with this one. Just dirty. You know, you got all the road grime and stuff, and what happens is it leaks, and then it leaks down, and the wind catches it and mixes with dust and stuff on the road, and then this is what you get out of it. Just all that thick, dusty, greasy dirt. But it's good. We're getting to it now, so it'll definitely look miles and miles better than it does. Dang it. Keep pressing the button on this flashlight. Okay, let me go find a bucket. All right, got the orange bucket. Here we go. That's better. Less of a mess. There's probably about an inch or so in the bottom of the radiator that it just doesn't get with this, so I'll have to get the rest with the lower radiator hose. Try to minimize the splash and spill as much as possible. Couple drops to the face. Not horrible though. Alright. Well, let me go clean my face, my glasses. I'll let that drip for a minute. And then we'll lower this thing down. Pull that upper radiator hose. We'll get the radiator out of the way. Looks like it just plastic just clipped to the bottom, so I'll just unclip it and push it onto the fan, pull the radiator out, pull the plastic shroud out. Okay, that's easy. Oh, I gotta get the cooler lines. Yep. Gotta get those cooler lines out of there. Okay. Well, I guess let's do that before I clean, because that's probably gonna get me dirty. Forgot about the cooler lines. All right, let's stick this hose back on for the moment. There we go. Wipe up some of the drips. These are power steering. Got a little cooler in the front. Oh yeah, it's got like a little loop, just a metal tubing, power steering cooling. Okay, there we go. So good there. Let's remove said bucket. All right, let's take a look at that fluid. Not the best. Okay, definitely see that shady looking frame part now. Okay. Don't twist the whole thing, just twist the nut. Yes. Okay. Leaking fully onto the floor. Yep. That's awesome. Okay, let me put a catch drip pan down there. Let me put a drip pan. I'm gonna lower the car down. We'll get ready to pull the radiator out. I'll be back with you. Radiator is nice and drained. So now we need to take the operator hose off, undo these two screws here, take these off, the brackets, and then hopefully move this forward and then pull the radiator out. So that's the plan. Let's see how well this works. I think I'm going to take it off here and here is the plan. Let's take a look. Let's see what we can do. ended up getting that out. All that's out. Now I need to take the strut brace off. I only got a couple more minutes before I have to pick up my son today, so don't have a lot of time today to continue to work on this, but we'll do what we can. Let's see if we can get okay. See if we can get the strut brace off. Let me show you what I did this morning, because I kind of cheated a little bit. So just kind of came in, got rid of some of just the quick easy stuff just to kind of get it out of the way. Again, it's a hot day, so I got the fan on, so if you hear a little wind noise, you know, I apologize, but it's the way it goes. Wires are out of the way, quick and easy, nothing big there, you didn't miss anything. Upper plenum, to get that off, had to undo the 10 pins, and the throttle position sensor, idle air control, that kind of stuff. And undid the heater hose, got that off. Took the vacuum line little manifold piece off. These you want to be real careful with. Although in this car, they're beautiful. They're not all crusty and chunky like I'm used to seeing. They're in really good shape. So of course they attach there. Those are in really good shape. Some of the vacuum lines and stuff still look okay. That one controls the fuel for boost. This one was pretty rotted. This is charcoal canister. It goes underneath the upper plenum. There was another hose. Oh, I think it fell down. That went into the bottom of the upper plenum. Then a couple vacuum lines here. No big deal. Trying to keep everything together as much as possible. I still have the fuel lines to undo. One of the things I noticed right here, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this AC line was totally touching that manifold right there. I kind of bent it away a little bit, and then, you know, the supercharger install is what caused that. Whoever installed these two fuel lines going up here to the pressure regulator should have put these two lines on the other side of that AC line, which would have pushed the AC line next to the car instead of next to the header. All they had to do was route them on the other side. It's kind of why I don't like taking stuff to shops to have something done. It's quick, it's easy, you feel like you got something out of it, like, you know, you didn't have to do the work and you had a professional do it. But honestly, most professionals are just rushing the job and they miss stuff like that. You know, it's just bad. Now I have to replace that line. Anyways, the cap and rotor was completely hammered on this car. That rotor doesn't look horrible, but I tell you, the cap is in such bad shape. Let's see here. Here's my pile of parts. Look how bad Look at that one right there. Man, that's horrible. All of them are just hammered. Deep grooves, horrible, horrible condition. So that's gonna be obviously replaced. So yeah, I think I got fuel lines to undo. I got 2 cables over here. I got negative, I gotta undo off the block. Positive to the starter, I'm gonna undo off of the steel me junction. I took the negative off the firewall already. We're pretty close to pulling this thing out. I think now what I'm gonna do is just lift it up, look underneath for anything I'm missing, undo those fuel lines, undo those couple electrical connections that I just showed you, put eyeballs on everything else, and then the big thing is now I gotta figure out where to actually mount my puller. And then I'll bring the cherry picker over, hook it up, take the motor mounts loose, and just lift this thing right out of the car. So, and then I gotta go dig out an engine stand back over there, which I don't know how hard that's gonna be able to get out, but I'll make it work somehow, I suppose. So yeah, let's do this real quick. Let me undo that one positive cable going down to the starter first, because that's up here. I think that's the last thing up here besides the power steering. I do have power steering to undo. I'm just waiting last second on that because it's going to leak, obviously leak a bunch of oil. So let me undo that. I'll go underneath, check everything, make sure it's all good, everything's undone, undo those 2 fuel lines on the bottom, make sure all that's clear. Then we'll lower it back down, attach the thing, get the cherry picker on it, undo the power steering, yank it out. All right, let's get after it. All right, guys, got everything all set up here. I hope this will work out okay, otherwise I'll be buying a new manifold. Looks like that's a good excuse to buy the trick flow manifold. I think it'll work fine. Got my puller set up just on the manifold. Everything should be undone with the exception of the power steering. I'm going to undo that right now because it's going to leak everywhere and I don't want to slip around in it before I was ready. So now I'm ready, and of course it's probably full. Yep, it's full, and not looking very good either. Jeez, I don't know if you can see that. That is brown. Okay, let me get a drip pan underneath there, and then I'm going to crack these lines and we'll let that drain for a minute. And then I have the nuts on the motor mounts, but just barely, just in case the motor tried to slip out of the car or something. I didn't want it to fall. So I'll pick up on it a little bit, reach underneath, undo the 2 nuts, and this thing should lift right out. So let's see how she goes. Looks good. Good, good, good. Yeah. You see I left most everything on it. And the reason I did that is because I want to make sure everything goes back together exactly the way it came out. And now when you're thinking like, oh, it's just a Fox body engine, you pull it out, throw it together, blah, blah. Well, yes and no. You know, I want to see what it looked like this right here. There's no reason for that hose to make that crazy bend. And so my plan moving forward is to shorten it in here, which will stretch that hose out, bring that bend down, and hopefully make this EGR valve thingy, or not EGR, air pump valve thingy work a little bit better. The other thing is like, this is the stock fuel lines here, and I'm not sure how they were attached originally, but they're like this now because what they did is they've got this fuel pressure regulator, and it goes down and attaches to them. And so instead of them just making lines that were fit right, they go and they do this loop down there, and it's a whole big mess. So I want to work on that, make that look better. And so what I'm doing is I'm kind of taking it out as a chunk so that later I can come back and say, okay, well, these are where these fuel lines were, these are where these were down here, and I can shorten, say, this one to make it fit better onto there or whatever. So, no, that's the plan. There's nothing wrong with going slow. Nothing wrong with taking your time. I'm in no hurry. I'm just trying to improve upon a few little things that look like they were in the way, like that. See that AC line right there? Behind, and the fuel lines are behind it. Now, if the fuel lines were on the other side, it would have been up against the frame and not pushed out like this up against the header. So that was a mistake when they installed these into the car. They should have had them on the other side, and they didn't. Let me see if I can just, I thought I had that unplugged. Have I not? Is that unplugged? Can you see that down there? Or did that plug itself back in? It must have. No, it's unplugged. I just can't get to. There we go. It's coming. A little bit at a time. This is always fun when you got the motor just hovering. Putting a lot of faith in Summit right now with their engine hoist. See, with that gone, that line now can just go right up against that frame, just like that. I believe they also rerouted this charcoal canister line from the tank, and so I would put that on the other side. But that gives that total space now to go up against this, and I can even put a clamp right there so it stays, and then stays out of the header. You can see here on the header where it had melted. So again, when the supercharger was put in this car, not a lot of miles were put on it. I would say if, you know, there was 20-30,000 miles on this car, this would be a big melted spot where the rubber sat. But because this car didn't really get a lot of miles, it only ended up with a little tiny spot there. So I believe these are ceramic coated too, which is nice. So you can see all the oil. Let's finish getting this out of the car, so that way it's not hovering and gonna smash something. And then we can take a look at it. Lightly bring this down. there. There we go. Okay, we are out, and you can really see the dirt now. It's not real bad. Hang on, it's shaking a little bit because I'm trying to collapse this thing. The dirt is not horrible, honestly. For 98,000 miles is what this car has on it. It's not horrible. Again, the car's been cared for pretty well, but there is a lot of road grime, especially down there where the engine had been leaking. So down in those cavities and stuff, there's no rust. I don't see any rust in there. The rack looks pretty good. Even where the air box goes and stuff is really good, no rust. Up in the fenders, no rust. You know, it's a California car, so you can see where just the dirt had accumulated in the corners. This corner I'm gonna have to take apart because that's where the clutch cable is gonna come through. So down in there somewhere is a spot in the firewall I can pop out and the clutch cable will go through there. Those cooler lines can come out now, the ones that are just hanging there. I'll probably hang on to them. Probably won't, actually. I'll just cut the ends off of them so I save the little fittings. Take those brackets. Those brackets are kind of cool. And the little clips that hold them together. Rob those. And then trash the lines. Because if I was ever going to make a new set of lines, I would just do it out of stainless anyways. These are kind of cool because they fit real tight. But like if I was doing a 5 liter in my Galaxy, my 65, I wouldn't use these anyways because they come to the driver's side of the radiator and there's one high and low, whereas the Galaxy is 2 on the bottom there. I mean, I could probably rebend this, but if you've ever rebent lines, you know how big of a pain that is, and they just don't look good. So honestly, I would just never use them. So I'll cut the ends off them, save the brackets, save the clips, and chuck them in the trash. So it's a shame. There's probably somebody out there with some rotted cooler lines that would love to have those, but you know, it's not worth the time and effort to try and find that one random person that is hanging on to their automatic. So anyway, that's what this thing looks like. A lot of cleanup to do. Let's take a look at the engine. Can't see much because I still got a lot of components still on the engine, but as you can see, you know, it was leaking just everywhere, all over. That motor's gray. It's not black. There's just oil coming out of everywhere. That Fram filter still bothers me. Look at all that, just, you know, it had just started weeping or leaking. I'd say this is the leak. This is not a weep. There wasn't too much oil being put out of it yet, but it was definitely getting there. And this will definitely give me a chance to clean up a lot of this, the smog equipment and stuff. All that has to go back on the car for me to sell it. There's a bracket there. I think it was supposed to go, I can't remember where this bracket actually went. It might have been attached to the factory exhaust. I can't remember. I know there was a bracket there. Well, you can see where it was. Somebody cut it. But anyways, that's where we're at on this. I think that's gonna do it for this section. I'm gonna mount this to a engine stand off camera, and then I'm gonna push it off to the side, and that's the way that's gonna sit for a while. Because next concentrated is going to be on the car itself, getting all of this cleaned up, inspecting some of the wires and circuits, making sure everything looks right. I need to look into this piece here because I believe that's a diaphragm in there, and with this car sitting for so long, that might be my starting and running issue. So I need to do a little diagnostic work in there. I don't ever like these brass fittings. I might change all that. I know one of these lines I want to shorten, and then I want to clean everything real well. And then from there, I think what I'll do is move to the inside, and we'll remove the seats, center console, steering column, and dashboard. And then I'll probably label that as part of the swap, because technically, like, if you wanted to do a really clean, good job on the swap, you wouldn't remove the dashboard, but you would remove the seats, the carpet, the center console, and I'm seeing a lot of people drop the steering column. Obviously, I'm just going to pull it because I'm literally right here. So I'm just going to pull it out, which honestly, that's just a bolt and a nut right there, and then the whole column slips off, and then you can pull the whole thing out and it's out of your way. But I'll probably label this as part of the budget World Class T5 swap. So, because a lot of that does pertain to it. And then when we work into the HVAC and cleaning that and that kind of stuff, then you know, I'll put a little marker in there in case you want to skip that part. But that should be quick and easy. I have taken the dashboard out of one of these cars before. So I think we're going to wrap up the part 1 of the budget 5-speed swap in this Mustang. We took the trans out, took the motor out, getting preparations and figuring out what we're going to do next is kind of the next step. With everything out, really kind of thinking about what I need to do going forward. We know we have to rebuild the transmission, simple gears, seals, and synchros. No, we have to go over here and reseal, clean up. I'm not going to call this rebuild, but technically it's a rebuild, a light rebuild. It's going to get bearings, it's going to get timing chain, it's going to get an oil pump, all brand new seals, and valve guide seals, and probably going to lap the valves just to make sure everything's sitting right and running right, and then clean everything up, paint it, new freeze plugs, and basically freshen it up. New thermal fan clutch, because you can tell this one blew up. Fan's still good though. So that's going to do it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to dive into cleaning the engine bay, and then removing the interior in preparation for the transmission, tunnel adapter, and the pedals. And then because this car is 36 years old, I'm going to change the heater core and evaporator. So that's going to be next episode, getting this thing ready, doing everything step by step, making sure that we're not going back and forth. We're going to have to do a little bit of that in the transmission to make sure we get that transmission tunnel adapter placed correctly. And then I'm going to do that part a little bit different than the instructions say to. And we'll get more into that in the next episode. So that's going to do it for this one. Hope to see you guys in the next episode. Until then,